some of the things she said I didn't understand. The tree, the quality of my tree doesn't reach that standard. Shown are traded into Burkina Faso and agriculture Burkina Faso to buy tomatoes, and they were ambushed, lost a number of our compatriots, so that those who are injured can continue to receive treatment here in Ghana. And agriculture is one of the most important contributors to our GDP, and it is a business that has long been looked down upon. I have two experiences. Sometimes I visit a country and my colleague president invites me to tree crops. So in whatever geographical area of the country you are, if it's in the north, a shea nut plantation, if it's in Brongahafu area, a cashew, if you're in western region, rubber, cocoa, you know, and if you're in Dodoa area and other places, mango. And so all of us must take an interest in the agricultural sector, and especially in tree crops. Price, if there's no fertilizer, if the price, and this time, when I'm going to do a reshuffle, priests, clergymen, traditional rulers, everybody, you know, try and do some agriculture. Just next door in Cote d'Ivoire, almost every public servant, you know, has a farm. And so let's take agriculture seriously. We must walk the talk, we must lead by example. We can't just always talk and say people should go back to the land when you yourself are not going back to the land. Recently, we've had a crisis with it's affected all cocoa producing countries, and it shows how unstable raw material exports are if you don't process and add value. And that means that we must take advantage of this crisis to make a pivotal change in how we handle our raw exports. And we've exported raw beans since Gordon Gaggisberg's time. For those of you who don't know Gordon Gaggisberg, he was one of the colonial governors. And Ghana at that time was the leading exporter of cocoa. And to think that in the 21st century, we are still the largest leading exporter of raw cocoa beans. That is not an accolade we should take pride in. We should take pride in being the leading exporter of manufactured cocoa products. And so this crisis must mark a turning point in our cocoa industry. As I explained when I spoke in Addis, we collateralize the beans and they give us money to buy the cocoa and export. So because of that, we cannot even allocate enough of the beans to our local processors. And that's why government took the decision that we should change the funding cycle of cocoa to stabilize the price of the cocoa that we produce. So without much ado, as Jerry, the MC, said, I'll acknowledge the representative of Otumfor, our traditional leaders, our ministers of state, our international partners, and just say distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege to join you at this inaugural Ghana Tree Crops Investment Summit. Let me start. This summit is not merely ceremonial, it is strategic. It reflects a central commitment of the NDC's 2024 manifesto, which is to reset Ghana's economy by strengthening productive sectors, expanding exports, creating decent jobs, and positioning agriculture as a driver. When you climb a good tree, that is when you are supported. Today, I must say, Ghana partners, diplomatic partners, to climb this tree with us. For decades, agriculture has contributed about 21% to our GDP. And cocoa has been our pride, earning roughly $2 billion annually and supporting millions of livelihoods. It is clearly that Ghana must move from dependence to diversification. Climate shocks, global price volatility, and environmental stress demand that Beyond cocoa are 6 priority crops: cashew, coconut, oil palm, rubber, mango, and shea form the backbone of this diversification strategy. Together, these crops employ over 1.6 million Ghanaians and support strong rural economies that promote gender inclusion, contribute 2% of our GDP, and 4.5% of agricultural GDP. The numbers tell a very powerful story. Share supports over 500,000 households, mostly women, and cashew provides jobs for over 120,000 Ghanaians. These are not secondary crops, they are engines of transformation. Our manifesto commits us to transforming agriculture into a high-value, export-driven sector, and tree crops are central to that vision. Government is committed to building a 24-hour economy, a system, and so I invite our investment partners who export cashew to come and build the capacity to process our cashew locally. I want to travel and be able to buy cashew and see produce of Ghana, not produce of India or produce of some third-party country. We will no longer export raw cashew, raw shea, or unprocessed rubber while importing the same finished products at higher prices. And so our target is clear: 50 to 60% local processing annually, expansion of agro-industrial parks, incentives for private sector processors, and stronger regulatory oversight through the Tree Crops Development Authority. Under the National Policy on Integrated Oil Palm Development, we call it the Red Gold, government is committed to invest $500 million to develop 100,000. To achieve this target, it will eliminate the 40% oil and make Ghana a net exporter of oil palm. And so this is consistent with says dominate the share industry and logistics. We're going to build inclusive value chains. Agriculture must be modern, it must be profitable, and it must be attractive to young people. And so this summit's themes: 7.8 million cashew seedlings, 2.3 million rubber seedlings, and 3.9 million coconut seedlings will be distributed to over 30,000 farmers. And I hope that you here will be part of the 30,000. 52,775 households will benefit directly from the program, with 185 small and medium enterprises receiving matching grants. I've directed the Tree Crops Development Authority and coconut markets access Middle Eastern markets and Asian markets, and expand processed exports and reduce foreign exchange vulnerabilities. Our 2035 ambition remains 12 billion annual exports, which will translate to 2 billion per crop. So for all the crops mentioned, from coconut to cashew to rubber, we expect $2 billion in export earnings from each of these sectors. It's very ambitious, I agree, and yet it's achievable if each of you here participates in growing one of those crops. The resetting agenda is about production, it's about jobs, it's about export, it's about inclusive growth. And the tree crop sector encompasses all these 5 items I've mentioned. So let the Ghana Tree Crops Investment Summit 2026 mark the turning point at which Ghana decisively shifts from raw exports to industrial processing, from vulnerability to resilience, and from promise to performance. And so, on behalf of the government and people of Ghana, I declare the Made in Ghana Tree Crops Investment Summit and Exhibition 2026 officially open. And I pray God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. I thank you.
He's the President of our Republic, the nation builder, and the resetter, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Please, a round of applause. We thank you so much, Mr. President. Yours has been a shot in our arm. Please be seated. You have given us a good shot in the arm to be a very highly developed, diversified, and value-driven, globally competitive and sustainable tree crop sector in Ghana. This certainly provides enough fodder for our afternoon session, where we're going to have in-depth presentations on all 6 thematic